Well, welcome back. Close it now. Sam Wakefield here. Let me get my radio voice on here for a sec. No, just kidding. Everybody's don't when you're getting your sales appointments, don't use that creepy salesman voice. Just be normal. There's an old tagline. If you remember back to the first 2, 3 years of the podcast, everybody listening, we used to always say, "Stop being weird and start selling," and it still applies. But we've just moved on from that a little bit. But it's good to remember that sometimes. So, getting into the episode today, I'm excited to have our guest on. He is lots of history. We'll let him give us a highlight reel here in a minute, but I'm super excited. They reached out to me. If you don't know this, if you don't host a podcast or something like this, once your podcast grows to a certain size, you get a, every single day. It's like 8 to 10 messages from who knows who trying to book people onto your show, which is great for me. That way I don't have to go out and try to find people. The other side of that is you never know who's going to appear. And so I usually say no to about 9 out of 10 people who reach out to be on the show. This was an exception, and you'll hear why as soon as we get into this interview. So I am excited to introduce James Hatfield. He is C. What would you say? C. I'm sorry, I already forgot C.
The C, the A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Is that
Yeah,
right?
he's C-suite,
Yeah, exactly. The chief revenue officer
chief
for my
revenue
company. I
officer.
sell stuff. I sell stuff.
Yeah, he sells stuff.
Sales guy.
Yeah, we,
Sales
we
guy.
were we were talking. We've been talking. Oh my gosh, we had spent an hour the other day getting to know each other to even discuss what we were going to talk about today. But Chief Revenue Officer with LiveSwitch is the name of his organization, and he has a massive history in sales and sales experience and growing and leading teams, et cetera, et cetera. So, James, welcome to the show, man. I am excited that you're here.
I'm glad to be here. I love talking about home services, trades, and of course, sales and technology too, because I'm a bit of a nerd.
Yeah, of course. You can't be in home services, and that's the cool part is if anybody who's doing anything, if a company is growing at all, even a little bit in home services or trades nowadays, they have to be plugged into some of the latest technology. Otherwise, they are getting left behind. If you don't embrace change, you better get used to extinction. That's what I've heard years and years and years ago, and it absolutely applies to our industry. Before we get into some of what we're going to talk about today, everybody, of course, is wondering, like, who is this guy? Where did he come from? And why in the world would he be on this podcast? So give us your highlight reel, man. Give some experience, some history, and along the way, would love to hear like one big philosophy that you live, for your personal life that guides your business as well.
Yeah, I think, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? So my grandfather, unfortunately, his dad passed away when he was quite young, but he was the oldest of a large family. So he had to drop out of high school and go get a job at a tire shop when he was 16 years old to put food on the table. My goodness, could you imagine being 16 years old and that's what happens? You lose your dad and now you've got to go and get to work so the family can eat. So we really didn't come from much, but we did come from hard work. My grandfather built his own house later on in life. My father, same thing. His dad died young, and then he ended up being a blue collar guy, put himself back to school, built his own house. And, the dreams of my father and my grandfather, is very formative, right? The fathers in our lives, if you have one, can be very formative. And, my grandfather's like, hey, I want you to, James, paint the lines on the highway. Because if you do that, you're always going to have a job. You'll always be, that was his big dream. My father was like, James, I want you to be a plumber. You're a plumber. There's always going to be plumbers. You're going to make a great living. Do that. And, I didn't know I needed to pay the bills for
Mm-hmm.
myself, right?
Sure.
No one was, and of course, parents like, get out of our pocketbook as fast as possible. So when I graduated high school, I learned, instead of painting the roads, I learned how to paint houses. And
Sure.
that's really where I started. I just sat beside guys that knew what they were doing. And then, I didn't mind going door to door, knocking on doors and hustling to get money.
Mm-hmm.
That never bothered me. No's never bother me. I'm always shocked when people say yes, to be honest with you. So here's this guy in a clipboard and a hat. I try to look presentable and I'm knocking on doors and all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden multiple crews, we're doing full head to toe exterior painting, deck power washing the whole nine, and here we go.
Hmm.
And that sets my journey off. Literally, I just need to make ends meet, and that's where I come from, and that's I was fulfilling the dreams of my fathers. You know what I mean? So that's where I got started.
Love it. Love it. So, and of course, that teaches a massive amount of work ethic and discipline and drive, which is awesome. So, take us forward a little bit because that, of course, led you into more of your career path and some of the things you did. Pull us forward a little bit into a little bit more of your history because I know that it is pretty massive and pretty expansive. But yeah, tell us a little bit
Yeah.
more about your sales experience and the teams and some of the stuff you've done.
So it's one thing when you're going door to door, and you're selling, which is always great, by the way. If you don't have enough business, go knock on some doors, humble yourself, and tell your team to do so. And if they won't, then you know, it tells you a lot about where your team's at and their love for your business. So
Yeah,
I
it sounds like
figured,
we need to put a pin in this one and circle back a little here in a
oh, we
little
can
bit.
circle back to selling because that's another thing I actually love selling. Um, so from there, I was like, man, I'm running these crews. I'm trying to understand my books. I can't make heads or tails going to the bookkeeper. They're speaking English to me, but I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. But I knew I wanted to get really good at it. And at that time, I'm dating myself. University was actually affordable, unlike today. I can't believe what we charge kids. My kids, I'm like, go to community college if you're going to go at all. Right. But
Right.
anyway, that's a whole nother soapbox I won't get on. But at that time, it was affordable, and I went to get accounting classes because that's where I knew I was weak. I was strong in sales, strong in management, strong in team building, recruiting, but I needed to get strong in the numbers. So I hunkered down, went to a state school, and got to learn accounting. As I graduated there, I had a partner who was graduating with their MBA from Duke, and he saw a hole in the boat of what I was struggling with, helping business owners understand the income statement and balance sheet that they pay for from their bookkeepers.
Hmm.
So he created this expert system. He's a numbers guy. And you can put your income statement and balance sheet into the system, and it would tell you in plain language as a business for a business owner what it means and how you compare to other people in your industry. And so
Cool.
he's like, hey, James, why don't you partner with me? It looks like you're great at selling. And we started in an incubator, meaning I worked in the hallway of some random commercial building that we could barely afford. Okay. And so at that time, I didn't mind picking up a phone and I'd made 150 plus cold calls a day. Like, I'm going to go figure this dang thing out. I'm going to find a home for it. And
Hmm.
sure enough, that company went Inc. 500, meaning we were one of the fastest growing companies in the nation. And we eventually had started selling to banks and had a huge exit for multi-billion dollars from KKR.
Hmm.
And the saga continues because we both went into philanthropy after that. And then you keep
Nice.
fast forward in the movie. But yeah, a little bit of hustle, a little bit of grind, and a one extra plus one because you mentioned it early on, being weird in your sales calls. I loved hiring ex not well, they were almost pro, like the farm leagues for
Sure.
like MLB baseball, and some of them made it for a few games. They couldn't make it all the way. I loved hiring those guys right
Hmm.
off the ball field because they were so competitive. And I would get these guys, and I got this guy, I mean, it was 20 years ago. This guy's name's Larry Long Jr. If you look him up, he's actually a famous like sales influencer now.
Hmm.
And well, I got him first. I hired him right out of baseball. He's in my office making the calls, and I'm listening to this guy. He sounds, and by the way, this guy's the life of the party. Like in the office, all the guys are around him. He's chumming it up. Everyone just loves this guy. He tells great stories, but he gets on the horn and it's terrible. I mean, it's awful. I mean, I can't even listen to him. So instead of embarrass him in front of everyone, I was like, here, come to my office. Let's sit down. And
Hmm.
I'm like, Larry, you're like the life of the party here, but you sound like a robot on the telephone. It's terrible. I'm
Yeah.
like, are you reading from a script right now?
Don't
He's like,
don't be
yeah.
two different people, right?
Yes, be Larry. I was like, that's what I told him. Like, are you reading from a script? Give me that thing. So I took the thing and I ripped it up, and for dramatic effect, I throw it in the trash can so it gets a big thunk. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Larry, everybody loves you. Just be Larry and call, just like you were saying earlier. And you know what? He still credits that to this day, and he's on tons and tons of sales podcasts. He's got books. He's travels all over, teaching people how to sell, if you can believe it.
Hmm.
But sometimes, to your point, Sam, that was just my plus one. Stop being weird,
Yeah.
you know? Just be you.
That's
And
it.
and
Just
you'll
care
never
for
know what's
people and
inside.
have a conversation, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So anyway, we get into philanthropy. I start building a nonprofit. I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, and my partner, he builds out it's called Inmates to Entrepreneurs. It's put thousands and thousands of currently and previously incarcerated men went through the program. It's still around today. We love teaching entrepreneurship. We love teaching the trades, and the graduations, bring a box of tissues, but it turned into an ABC television show called
Hmm.
Free Enterprise. Won a bunch of awards. You can watch it on ABC TV. These are great stories, and we hire folks out of the program into our now tech company because we decided, hey, philanthropy is great. We love it. It's heart lifting, but like, we're too young to hang up our cleats. Let's
Hmm.
build another $1 billion company.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we
I love it.
purchased a company instead of starting one in an incubator this time. So we purchased a 16-year-old company. And then again, the saga continues.
The saga continues. Oh, I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Stay tuned for the next episode of, Sam and James talk about wild stories of business. So then we buy this company. Okay. We look at hundreds and hundreds of companies. We knew we
Mhm.
wanted kind of a mom and pop, founder led, been around a while where we could come and contribute. And we found a
Sure.
company out of all places in Vancouver, Canada.
Hmm.
And this guy was also from the North Carolina area. Him and his brother started this tech company with this technology called WebRTC. And if you ask any of your listeners right now, any web listener who knows what WebRTC is right now, you get a +1 and put a star in your refrigerator because you were. I was like, what is this stuff?
Right.
So
I'll even admit I have no idea what that means.
nobody does. I didn't even know. And my partner's like, I got one. Let's do it again. I found something. So I come in and I also like getting nerdy. I mean, if you can see me now, I've got big, Coke bottle glasses on. I'll give you my lunch money
Right.
later, Sam.
Yeah. For
But I,
everybody on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe and follow all the things. But you're the ones that get to actually see what's going on here instead of just listening.
yeah, you can see my big, thick glasses, because I'm blind as a bat.
Well, if I
But
didn't have my contacts in, I'm sure that I would probably give you some competition there.
I love it. Well, I left the pocket protector at home, so don't worry, Sam. Um, So then I start getting with our engineers. And these guys, again, just like the accounting stuff, they're speaking English to me. I'm nodding my head. I'm like, I don't understand what these guys are saying. Not a single word. They're all computer scientists. They're smart as I'll get out. So I'm hanging out with them for a while. And we're doing cool stuff. We're like powering the Super Bowl this year and last year. If you go to an MLB ballpark and scan a QR code, they put you on the Jumbotron. We're doing that. We did 100 episodes of WWE wrestling, but we're also doing like stuff for NASA, Department of Defense, all this really
Mhm.
incredible stuff that the company's been doing for, 16 years. Well, I get this chance to reinvent the 911 phone call with the chief of police in Washington, D.C.,
Whoa.
as one does, right? So we had to come up with those as
Just
yeah,
casually say that like everybody gets that
like
opportunity.
everybody. Exactly. Well, sometimes you're in the movie, but you're like, I can't believe this is what's happening. But anyway, so I get with the chief, and we needed to find a way to connect the citizen's cell phone in this case, because everyone has like 4 or 5 cameras on their phone, to the police officer driving in their police car. It's called situational awareness. If you've got any
Mhm.
ex-police officers or current police officers listening, they'll know what I'm talking about. Next gen policing. And now, when you place a 911 phone call, it's over the phone. What's the worst part of your smartphone, Sam? The worst part of your smartphone is what?
Oh geez, I don't know.
Every,
It's a good
the
question.
phone, the phone. And the most ironic thing, the phone sucks. Can you hear me
Yeah.
now? It hangs. It's terrible.
Oh
Well,
yeah, absolutely.
it's on an old technology called telephony. So now, when you're on the 911 call, you'll get a text. You'll tap it. You don't have to download any apps. Nobody wants any more apps. You
Hmm.
tap it, and you instantly your cameras light up, and that live stream from the citizen's camera goes right to the police car, and
Wow.
they can
Okay.
see what they're driving into. And we started putting this across campuses because these school shootings just suck.
Hmm.
And then, well, back to the blue collar roots. Who else could use this thing?
Of course.
Well, that's a natural question. So I'm like, well, maybe these guys that take care of sports teams and arenas. So I meet this guy. His name is AD. He takes care of the Nashville, Tennessee Titans football team, NFL team. And he's looking at my emergency response stuff. He's like, James, this all looks great, but I got the stupidest question. I'm like, lay it on me, man. He's like, can I just text my guy across the arena when the trash cans fall over, and then I don't have to hop in my golf cart and he can just show me what's going on? And I'm like, oh yeah. And now back, I remember. I remember when I had an Nextel walkie-talkie. Did you have one of those things,
Oh
Sam?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Had to.
remember you cannot forget the beep, the sound of that burp. It just like,
Yes.
oh, it's in my brain.
Yeah, like everybody who's anybody, if you're sitting at Waffle House before your job, you're eating your, hash browns and waffles, and you got your truck out there and you got your Nextel walkie-talkie, you have made it. Like
Hmm.
I felt like I was the stuff that day when I had that.
Oh,
But
right.
they clicked. I was like, oh. So we start talking to all these different people, and I meet this guy in the moving industry, like moving boxes. you know,
Hmm.
and he's a smart guy. He puts on these conferences and I'm showing him, just like I'm telling you now, I'm showing him our stuff. He's like, James, you have no idea what you have. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, we will use this for virtual estimates so I don't have to skip a drive in the truck. He's like, the
Hmm.
most expensive thing I do as a business owner is I put a guy behind the wheel of one of my trucks. I pay him hourly just in the hopes that I win the business.
Hmm.
And he also says, like, hey, and sometimes someone calls in or goes in through my website and I get a lead and I book the time, I pre-qualify them, and then my guy calls like, "Oh, I'm headed out," and the person's like, "No, don't bother. I already booked somebody."
Right.
Speed to lead is everything.
Hmm.
It's everything. Nobody likes to wait anymore. I mean, that's just what it
100%.
is.
Yeah. I mean, work with, doing what we do. We are always studying, marketing companies and those kind of things. And the statistics are wild, for all of the contractors that are listening, when we respond within, I think it's 5 seconds to the lead, we're like 80% more likely to book it versus not. If it goes over 5 seconds, then the numbers go down literally at 80%, the likelihood to actually book that lead, and it's nuts, but it's exactly what it is.
It's
So
exactly
clearly
what
we
it
need
is.
automations, we need all kind of different abilities to be in contact immediately.
Yeah, and in the age of Amazon, we just don't like waiting. I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait 20 days for a package. I want it overnight. I don't want
Yeah,
to
no way.
wait in line for a sandwich for 30 minutes. Nobody wants to wait. So
Yeah, no
we need to
kidding.
think as home service professionals, as when we're dealing with customers, this is their mindset.
Mm-hmm.
The longer you make them wait, the more unhappy they are. You're
Mm-hmm.
the same. We're all the same way. How is
Right.
this any different? But the question is, well, what do we do? Like
Mm-hmm.
how I'm on a job site or I'm doing this, that, and the other. Like I can't respond in 5 minutes. How am I supposed to do
Right.
that?
Yeah,
Right?
especially smaller companies that don't have a built-out team that's a dedicated, people, or the have invested in the really expensive AI systems that immediately do all of that.
That's
But
right.
wow, it's like a bandwidth, right?
But even the AI systems, they go through your booking process and they book you. And when they book, they don't book in 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
They're not showing up at the doorstep in 5 minutes. This is still the problem. I don't care if you're using AI
Mm-hmm.
or robots.
Oh
You
yeah,
still have a problem.
yeah, yeah.
Like
We're
that's just
we're we're just talking about the initial contact. How do we get, this is interesting because I love this conversation because it takes us to, so many of the things that have been adapted and developed, um, have been more of treating a symptom than it is the actual problem itself. So if you like, so many times in companies or trades, it's just built on this symptom. We fix this symptom, so it causes the next symptom, which causes the next symptom. But if we're truly scraping that and said, okay, let's start over, how would we do it differently? It would look completely different. But we're
that's
so
right.
far down this road of we've invested in all these things to fix all these symptoms. It's kind of like somebody in medical is like, we have all of these, side effects of these drugs. So if you actually just stop taking so many of the drugs, then you get better because one was treating the side effects of the other one, treating the side effects of the other one, and then now it's this overload.
Absolutely. And this is why I love hiring ex-athletes because they inherently understand speed. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care what sport you play. What's a big stat in football? How fast you are.
Right.
What about track and field?
Mm-hmm.
How fast you are. What about in boxing? How fast you are.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Any sport. Well, why is it any different in a professional sales that we're going to be judged the same way
Mm-hmm.
by our speed and the quality of our work?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like sports, right? So, how is a guy who's on a job site going to compete? Well, this is the problem that we're solving,
Mm-hmm.
right? The other problem we're solving, and as great as AI is, I'm not here to bash it, it also is booking you later.
Mm-hmm.
What's the close rate for your AI bot? It's kind of low, I bet. How often are you, if the AI bot was so good, you'd never have to make another sales call or need another salesperson on your sales team. Isn't that right?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
But we all know it doesn't close. It
Mm-hmm.
books meetings and it answers trivial questions,
Mm-hmm.
which are fine. That's
Yeah,
great.
and it'll
But when
never replace the relationship, of course, and that's why we, have people that can never be replaced. Maybe it changes formats. Maybe we hop on a virtual appointment, but we're still looking them in the eye. We
well,
get to
that's
build relationship.
the looking us in the eye piece is important, right? Because how many deals are you closing just having your salespeople chat on a keyboard doing text messaging?
Right. Yeah,
I mean, they
almost
might be
none.
building rapport, but they're probably never closing,
Sure.
Next, how often are you closing on a phone call?
Hmm.
You're probably doing your pre-qualification questions,
Hmm.
and every now and then you'll close a deal,
Sure.
but also it's a little bit risky because you're blind bidding.
Hmm.
And I know when I was in my painting company and I blind bid a few things, those turn into nonprofits pretty fast
Oh yeah.
because I screw it up, and the customer's trying to explain stuff.
Hmm.
I'm
But
like,
they have no idea what they're looking at. Yeah.
no
Yeah,
idea.
unless the model has been perfectly set up for, and there's of course in trades there's where the new buzzword is called call by call management, which is just the way we've managed for years and years and years. Just finally got a buzzword for it. But there are some models, yeah, that get somebody, but it still has somebody there that's done half of the work before it gets passed over to that person on the phone or the video, and it's just
Right.
like this big convoluted mess.
It doesn't land the plane.
Hmm.
It just doesn't. Because just like the police officers, when somebody's calling and they're compromised, I don't know where I am. There's fire all around me. Blah, 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 blah. The same thing happens with our prospects. Like if you're an
Hmm.
electrician, well, it looks like a gray box, and when I open it, there's black switches with numbers on it, and I can't. And the ones are going left, and ones are going. And you're like, oh my goodness, if can you just show it to me?
Yeah.
Because as seasoned professionals, we've seen a lot, and
Hmm.
our eyes operate 10,000 times better than just our ears.
Hmm.
So the whole thing is we drive out. We get in the truck and we drive out and we get on property and we look at the problem, we bid the problem, and we close the problem. We've been doing that for a long time, right? So here's where the change comes in. And we are not going to fully change it 100%. You are still going to go on site for a lot of times, but can we reduce it?
Hmm.
Can we reduce it? And especially for some of the jobs that or the follow-ups, how often have you driven out, like if you're an HVAC person, just to reset the stinking Nest thermostat? When you're like,
Right.
and you do it because you just installed it and they paid all this extra
Hmm.
money and
Hmm.
you want to do the right thing and you want to drive out and you want to spend. No, you don't. You just want them to hit the reset button and the on button.
Hmm.
You're literally there three
It's
minutes,
like,
right? How
oh,
many?
change the batteries in your thermostat, right?
Exactly. So we have these things, just like the police officers were saying, 4 or 5 cameras in these phones now,
Hmm.
and we have live video. The problem has been, and why you don't see live video, is only 4 companies in the world do live video. And if a company has live video, they're outsourcing it from somebody else.
Hmm.
Like we power some of the largest live video applications that are billion-dollar products. We power them because we're only one of 4 companies that do this, which is why I get an opportunity to work with the chief of police, right? Because
Sure.
there's just not a lot of people that can do that.
Hmm.
So our thing is we're the live video company. So because my partner ran a landscaping business, I ran a power washing and painting companies. We inherently know our customers. First of all, nothing can be complicated. When you teach someone how to answer, do you have to teach someone how to answer the phone? Sometimes on the first smartphone, you
Right.
swipe your finger, swipe the finger, and you answer the call.
Hmm.
It's got to be that easy. Because if nobody's going to download another app. Nobody's doing that.
Oh,
Nobody
for sure.
likes to do that.
Yeah,
And what do
everybody's
we ask our
there's so many
customers to
apps
do?
on the phones now.
My wife wanted to get some driveway, and my wife and I wanted to get some driveway work done. These guys come and they want my wife to go out there, take pictures, upload the thing somewhere, go to her text messages. She's like, "This is terrible,"
Hmm.
and a lot of times we just forget it. I'm driving out. So now we have a system that's built for the lay person, and not just the customers, but your team. We're not all tech nerds. I
Of
am,
course.
but we have to make it simple. So to use our stuff, you have to be able to enter in a phone number. That's it.
Cool.
To answer it, if I'm the customer or prospect, you just tap a text, tap it, just tap it.
Hmm.
That's it. And we're connected. Once you're connected, it's all tuned up for third party assistance. This is not a FaceTime call. This ain't Zoom. And we've tried to use that. And a lot of professionals have tried,
Hmm.
especially when COVID came around. But the reason we didn't keep using it is because it wasn't purpose built.
Right.
It's for having a talk, doing a podcast,
Hmm.
grandma watching the kids blow out candles,
Sure.
but not to do a third party assistance, walk me through and show me the job so I can bid it, close it, and get the money.
Hmm. Yeah, and I've done it. I was teaching webinars, pretty substantial, 350 person webinars on how to virtual sell right in the heart of COVID. And you're right. It's like the handful of people tried it and did it. We were selling hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment because, I was training my team daily on it. But the implementation across the country was pretty low, other than a handful of people. And I totally agree with you. And that was one of the big stumbling blocks was, you know, somebody had to learn how to use Zoom. Okay, well, let's try FaceTime. Okay, do you have Facebook? How about Facebook Messenger video? Okay, all right. Then you need somebody to. Okay, can I get you to climb around through your attic for me?
No
It's
wonder it's like, forget it, I'm driving out.
yeah, it's
Forget
like,
it.
okay, guys, you lock yourself in your master bedroom. I'll call you when I get there, and I'll throw a mask on. Right.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what we did. So now you have something that's purpose built. It's no apps. Customer
Yeah.
taps it. And when the customer holds the phone, in this case, they actually see themselves large and you small.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing a person eyeball to eyeball, what you said earlier, Sam, the close rates are way higher than over the phone, on AI, or chatting.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I have customers that track every deal down to the T. And you
Mm-hmm.
know those types.
Oh,
And they're
absolutely.
like, James, when we go on site, I close 60%. I've heard this in multiple industries. We close 60%. When you use your stuff, 61%.
Mm-hmm.
About the same. So, but why is that? Back to speed to lead. You can be sitting on a job site in your truck, pull over. You can be at the Waffle House
Mm-hmm.
and video connect with that person. Are you going to close all the deals that way? No,
Well,
no.
yeah.
But them seeing your face, as beautiful as we aren't,
Mm-hmm.
that it's the trust of like, okay, I'm the owner, or I'm the lead sales guy, or I'm the lead tech, right? And now the customer can walk around because they can see themselves big, so they
Mm-hmm.
don't fall down the stairs. They see you, and on your end, you can be on a tablet, a PC, a Mac. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
We don't care about your device, but you see everything large, and it records everything. You can take remote photos, take notes, and then you can, if you have all the info you need to bid it, fix it, connect a senior tech to a junior tech.
Sure.
This is remote assistance technology, not just for sales, but
Mm-hmm.
ops and everything else. Now we're going to use these phones to our max,
Yeah.
and weave that into something that was thoughtful. As great as, I mean, I'm not knocking like all the other things we
Oh,
said. They
sure.
just weren't built to do what we're trying to do
Yeah, it's
as
purpose driven.
professionals. That's it. Give me the right tools for the right job. I mean, I can do something like MacGyver with duct tape, and I'm dating myself again, but
Yeah, all you need is duct tape, a Swiss Army knife, and a roll of the toilet middle out of a toilet paper roll, and you're good, right?
and I can fix anything,
Yeah.
you know? No, come on, man. Like, let's get some real tools here.
Mm-hmm.
And so that has really been a game changer for a lot of our folks on the front end,
Mm-hmm.
during the operations, before and after documentation, and
Sure.
afterwards, and everything in between. When the light bulb starts going off, I can use it here. I'll use it here. It's
Absolutely. Yeah,
unreal.
my
It's
brain's
unreal.
already running. So you mentioned senior tech to junior tech, guys out on the field that going, hey, I'm having a problem with this diagnosis. Talk to the technical supervisor. Talk to, same with salespeople in the field, install in the field. Connecting department to department. It's all these different ways to
It's
make this really, really cool.
it's mind-boggling. Like, the other thing we have is you can arm your technicians with a tablet. It can
Hmm.
be a simple Android or little iPad, and they can show up. And I know we all have them. I know I had
Hmm.
them. I had techs that were good at like whatever job I gave them, but don't ask them to try to sell anything because they can't close the door. They don't know how to upsell. They don't even want to talk to the customer. They
Hmm.
just want to get the work done. So now your technician can show up on site. You booked the job, you won the job. Now hand the customer a tablet, they hit a button and connect back with your customer success or sales team.
Hmm.
And the salesperson can say, hey, yep, I got Johnny on site. We're taking care of this, that, and the other. Oh, and while he's on site, did you have any other needs for us to take a look at while we're there? AKA upsell. And
Hmm.
oh, have I told you about our protection plan, our membership plan? And
Right.
they're just talking virtually and seeing on video your salesperson while your tech is out there already fixing whatever they were hired to fix.
Hmm.
So that's another pathway to start leveraging these live video in
Right.
different ways.
Right. I love this so much. It's cool because it definitely fits a lot of different models. In the trades, there's several different types of, customer journey models, we'll call it. Sometimes there's just selling technician, right? The one person that's out there and they're responsible for the sales and the repair and all the things. Other models, pass it over. The company finally gets to the point where they have a salesperson, so pass it over to the salesperson. The other one is like I mentioned, the call by call, and every I could see how every single one of these models, this would shortcut the process in a way less clunky manner than kind of what we've had to just navigate or negotiate.
Yeah.
And only the biggest companies that I know of that are 65, $100 million plus have developed their own something kind of like this, just strictly from necessity, right? And
Or they
so,
may have knocked on our door.
or they
Hint,
may have
hint.
knocked on your door. Yeah, it's very possible.
Yeah, we may be powering them.
Yeah, they
So
could have white labeled it.
uh, they they very well did. So the other piece of this puzzle is we bang our heads against the wall, staffing.
Hmm.
And if you're in the high rent district, especially if you're in the city where you're paying hourly rates through the roof, well, now you're going to open up the talent pool across the country and across the globe. Because
Mm.
if you can do things virtually, now you can hire people. There's a lot of people out there that love working from their home. They
Hmm.
actually don't want to leave their house. They just want to work from their home and, be with the family. Or now you can hire those
Yeah,
folks. So
don't
maybe
want to
you're
or
in,
can't, right?
yeah, you
Incredible
may,
workers, but they're, for whatever situations, either health and or kids or all these things that prohibit that, but would be incredible employees.
and totally excited to do it. Like,
Hmm.
imagine you're a plumber in Seattle. Last I checked, it's kind of expensive to live there. Well, now I can hire someone on the east side of Washington State to do all the sales calls. In fact, you can even hire virtual assistants overseas, which a lot of our business we see businesses doing because you're paying a third of the cost. They'll be on video and they'll do it any time of day. They've got that hunger. But
Hmm.
hire them wherever, and you can do it locally. If you're in Seattle, want to hire other people in Seattle, hire them there. But I
Right.
just know at times we struggle with finding good people to do the work and the right people on the right seat on the bus,
Hmm.
to get the job done that we need them to get done. And now you can start to do that. The other piece, where do we get the most sales? Where do we get the most money?
Hmm.
Like, and I'm coaching this all the time. Where is your biggest potential for money? People start thinking, oh, I think I need to put stuff on the website or I need to put out some mailers. I'm like, those are good,
Hmm.
but it's not the greatest source of your potential new income. And then they stop. And where is that? Sam, I could put you on the spot and you're allowed to be wrong. I don't want to embarrass anybody, but where do you get the most amount of money, Sam?
The
Where
most
is
amount
it?
of money usually comes from your existing client base.
Sam with the perfect star. Go ahead. I'm going to let you put it on the refrigerator. Let the family know you crushed it today. So, yes, from your existing customer base
Hmm.
is,
They already know you and like you and trust you.
yeah. And we don't think about that sometimes. We're always on to how can I get more leads coming into the website or more people calling or more referrals. And those all you do need 100%. But every time you pick up a new customer, you need to look at that as the most beautiful dollar sign that I learned from business school.
Hmm.
Recurring revenue.
Right.
Recurring revenue is the best kind of revenue you could ever ask for. So there's some things you can do. And again, because I'm the video guy with video, when you go on site, there's certain things you can put up called a QR code
Hmm.
and your brand. If you are an electrician, put that QR code with your name on that breaker box. If you're working HVAC, go outside, put that in there. If you're a
Hmm.
plumber,
Right on
how
the
about that
equipment.
water heater?
Hmm.
Right on the equipment. Because guess what happens if there's a problem? Where do they go first? To the
Right to
equipment.
the thing.
Shocker, right? So
Yeah,
now what
it's
do
like
they
we
have in their
know
pocket?
nothing about this like big cylinder in the garage. It's this water heater, but we go stand. I've been I'm poster child for this. I in no way consider myself a plumber, and I'll go out there and I'll just stare at this thing and like it's making some popping sounds and the water's not hot. Okay, we've got something's going on.
Something is going on. And
And I mean, I'm dumbing it down. I know a little personally. I know a little more than that, but most of the time, people don't.
what do we do? The next thing everybody does is they hop on their laptop or phone and what do they Google?
Yep,
Plumbers near me.
plumber near me.
So of course you need your 5 stars, but let's not even let them go to Google. How do you do that?
Hmm.
Make sure you have your QR code right there with your thing. And now they can scan it and take a video and tell you, hey, I think something's wrong with this. And it goes right to your cloud. You get a ping, and now you've got a lead. You're one step ahead. You're boxing out the
Hmm.
competition, and you're getting a ping. And yep, I watched your video. Thank you. And maybe it was a previous homeowner that sold their house. Your sticker is still on there.
Yeah.
Get sticky. The best part of it is the sticker. It's hard to take off, and
Hmm.
they don't really care because it's a water heater. It
Right.
doesn't need to be beautiful. They're not, no one's decorating their water heaters, but
I
you
love this.
are.
It's such a good reminder for all the contractors out there because, for years and years and years, starting in, geez, the 80s, Everybody, it was the big new thing. Hey, put your sticker on the equipment so they can call you directly. And so we got really, really good at it for a few decades. And then for whatever reason, I guess as more technology took over, they're like, oh, okay, well, if I can get this cool thermostat with like a little logo on here, I don't have to do that. But what happens when they change the thermostat? What happens if the technology doesn't work? That's why I love this. Like, great reminder for everybody. Make sure you got your stickers on. Put them on. Get a level on them. Make sure they're square and they look like they're done professionally. But man, sticker it up. Sticker it up everywhere.
That's it, because that's where the biggest source of your cash is, that recurring revenue, and you're claiming homes. You're actually,
Hmm.
and anytime someone moves, that's a gift, especially if they move locally, because you claimed that their first set of stuff, and now you're going to claim their next set of stuff, and you get the new homeowner that's in there. Now you're
Hmm.
compounding your business. This is just stuff that we didn't have it. We didn't have the technology. We didn't
Yeah.
have this stuff, and now that this stuff is on the scene, you can start to leverage it to get more cash, really, what it comes
Hmm.
down to, and speed.
Hmm. Yeah. Speed to that appointment, right? They know something's wrong. They call you right away. And man, this is really handy. So in a case like that, so let's unpack it a little bit. Case like that, say it's a service issue with we'll stay in the skilled trades for a sec, and say it is a water heater problem, right? They scan that, say it uploads, pings the person, right? Where does that go, right? Do we need to say I'm the contractor? Do I need to have somebody on standby all the time to be the one to immediately be able to answer that, or what would best practice look like for this?
Right. So, because these can come in the middle of the night, right? Again, back to if you did want to have 24/7, get your
Mm-hmm.
virtual assistants, right? We're talking about people you're going to pay $1,700 a month for, right? That if you wanted 24/7, nobody's faster than you type of response, right?
Sure.
Because you got the people for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you're putting the right people, right seats of the bus, your salespeople and customer success people, whether they're working from home, working in an office overseas, you're putting them there, right? And that's not the only thing they're going to be doing. They're going to be answering sales calls, but you're give them more tasks to do.
Mm-hmm.
Pick other things that they can be doing for you. That's a whole nother, session that we can
We got a
talk about
whole
in the
whole
future.
episode on this, I'm sure.
Whole other episode. Absolutely. Like making sure we do this. So what happens? Customer goes to that water heater. They scan the QR code with their phone. Up pops a little form. They write their name in it, their email, their phone number, and a comment. Our water is cold. Hit the record button. So now you're
Hmm.
still getting the lead like you're used to. Again, they didn't even go to Google. And now they're taking a video recording and talking to you.
Hmm.
Yeah, we did. So then what happens is you're going to get a notification via email or text. You might be on the job. Maybe again, I have mom and pops that do this. They get a
Hmm.
text on their phone. You've got a lead.
Sure.
Oh,
Solopreneurs and somebody with maybe a
solopreneur.
couple helpers, and there's hundreds, actually literally thousands of people in that specific model that listen to the show that I know could probably really benefit from this.
Oh yeah, I built it. I mean, I was a solopreneur until I grew. Like I totally have
Hmm.
walked in the shoes, right? So you're on the job because you're a solopreneur or you're, at another bid and you're getting a text now on your phone. You've got a new recording.
Hmm.
You can tap it, it comes up. There's the info, there's the video. You watch it, there's a phone number, you call it, just
Hmm.
watched it. Yep. Let me it's gonna be this much, or if you can book it there, or hey, I can be there whenever you're gonna be there. Speed, they see the video, they've already
Absolutely.
captured it. And
Yeah,
then
Miss Jones, just watch your video. I need you to do this one thing. See that valve right there? Go ahead and turn that off. That's good to keep you safe while we're on the way. Whatever we need to do there. But peace of mind. You call the right person. Be there as soon as we can.
and convenience and speed,
Hmm.
right? Like they think about the experience your customer just had. They're already frustrated because the water is now cold, the water heater broken. So now they've gone and it's right there. They've already uploaded it.
Hmm.
It saves them from they still may go to Google,
Sure.
but even if they do go to Google, now they got to wait on a phone tree, leave a message. You're already kicking their butt.
Hmm.
You're kicking everybody else's butt because of the experience that the customer had. We got to remember to walk in the shoes of our customers. It's
Hmm.
not just about taking care of your team. It's not just about doing great work, which we have to do as well. We've got to get that customer experience, and we can do this with simple. I mean, you can create these QR codes in seconds,
Oh yeah,
and then you
yeah,
just get them.
yeah. For everybody that
This
doesn't
is
know,
not hard.
just Google a free QR code generator and take whatever link you have and just throw it in there, and then it'll do it for free for you.
Yeah,
I do it all the
there's
time for things.
tons of free ways to do these things, right? And then even in our systems, if you were to ever select us, we've already got it baked in.
Hmm.
And then, you can do really cool things with this stuff. And you can put QR codes on door hangers, you can put them on mailers, you can put
Hmm.
them on trucks. Like what a lot of our folks will do is they'll on their trucks, even internally, they'll
Hmm.
have their guys scan the QR code and do a before and after. They'll do damage documentation.
Hmm.
Like if they're a painter, hey, the gutter's already banged up, get a video of that. It'll be time stamped there. Then you let the customer service person, hey, look, we haven't touched anything yet. Your gutter's already banged. We want to make sure we're preventing those claims.
Right.
We're also doing before and after. How about a customer testimonial? Because you
Hmm.
now can download these videos. You go to your Google, and Google can tell if you have authentic photos and videos. And the ones that do, along with 5 stars, they
Hmm.
raise you up organically, and it costs you zero.
Right. Right. Another gold nugget. It's cool having a technology person on here because so many times we, kind of either don't know or just forget to mention these things. But unpack that for a second for everybody that doesn't know how Google is ranking reviews now, because you know, service companies live and die by Google reviews and by their reviews. But yeah, educate a little bit on how they're weighting that.
Yep. And this is a great thing to give those salespeople that you might have working from home or VAs. This is a great job to let your sales guys and gals do, right? So when you get a customer testimonial video or a before and after video, customers like, oh, please use that. Happy to use it. You can go and in this case, you're going into your cloud. You can download that video and you can upload it into your Google business, right? You're allowed to put photos and pictures and videos. And the more you add, Google there's this crazy thing called AI. It
Mm-hmm.
can read and it understands what looks like stock photos. Do not
Right?
use stock photos on your web. Never use stock photo.
Nope.
Never do that. You're better off hiring a photographer, taking pictures of your team, taking pictures of stuff, or taking photos and videos like we have
Mm-hmm.
and populating your site because it's even reading your website.
Right.
Not, I mean, it is what it is. And in the back in the day, we just paid. And you can still pay to play. You can still pay. But
Mm-hmm.
again, you don't have to because Google actually, believe it or not, as evil as some of us think it is, what they're trying to do is be the modern day phone book. They want to
Mm-hmm.
serve up a good product. And when someone says plumber near me, Google is trying to find out where they are and serve them up the best plumbers
Right.
so they have a good experience because they want them
Mm-hmm.
to keep using Google and keep seeing those ads and keep seeing those things. So as you go in and you grab these videos, you have somebody respond when someone puts those 5 stars. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
responding. Hey, sorry you had that experience. Let's take care of that.
Mm-hmm.
People can see how responsive you are, even if you didn't get a full 5 stars, which is what you're hoping for.
Right.
But if you get a lower star, even when they can see, oh, we'll take care of that. Sometimes the people will come back and, oh my goodness, I made this thing and they came back and like these are the little bits and pieces that you
Mm-hmm.
need to equip your customer success teams. That's why we like to call them customer success because it's not just selling, it's the whole throughput of
Mm-hmm.
everything. To be guarding your business. They're guarding the house while you're
Yeah.
out
They're a
there.
tour guide on the entire customer journey.
There it is. And this
Mm-hmm.
stuff isn't hard. We just forget to do it or don't do it or didn't know we should be doing it.
Yeah.
And you absolutely, if you want to crush in your area for your business, you do this, you'll
Mm-hmm.
box out so many people and nobody's asking like Google won't be asking you for money.
Mm-hmm.
You're contributing to their site, to their quality,
Yeah.
and they're going to lift you up organically.
Right. Yeah. You could build this organic growth with, and from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, the way that it ranks it is especially if it comes straight from the customer first. So yeah, absolutely. In the Google My Business, we put videos in, constantly keeping updating videos and pictures and those kind of things. But for everybody out there listening too, when our clients put in reviews for us, we of course want the 5 star reviews, but they're prioritizing when they upload a video with their review is number one. When they put a picture with their review, it's a little bit lower weight, but it's still weighted higher than just text. So video is first, or pictures are second, and then just text is third, is the way that they're weighting those. So um, the more video and or pictures that we can, even if you just have that homeowner take one simple picture to put in with their review, it's going to grow your organic reach dramatically better than just letting them just write a review. Of course, just a review is great. We need those also. But so just a quick education piece for everybody out there. Make sure that when you're asking for reviews, ask for, hey, would you do a quick little video for me? Just talking to your phone and let them know what a great experience it was. If not, just a quick picture.
That's
That way
right.
it starts to organically grow and rank better. And you can, just like James is saying, we can outperform, some of these bigger companies that are just dumping loads of cash into it that doesn't have anything that's very organic.
Exactly. And that's why when you're following up with anything, oh my goodness, this is where a ton of folks are failing. Is they're just not following up. They're not following up on the inbound leads. They're not following up after they gave a bid. They're not following up after they did the job. After you do
Yeah.
the job, this is where we're talking about, Sam's talking about is after the job, have your customer success team call up and say, thank you again for your business. We're so grateful. We'd really appreciate it if
Mm-hmm.
you'd be willing to give us a review on Google. Here's a link. I'm going to text it to you. Make it easy for them.
Mm-hmm.
But you start prioritizing that, you're not going to have a marketing problem anymore.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, I love this. And so, what are other ways that we can use this? Because I could almost see really using this internally, and with officing, I could see it, God, for 1,000 different ways.
Yeah, it's now that you've got all these cameras on your phone, let's use them and abuse them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Training is a perfect example.
Mm.
You have one of the guys roll up. Anybody rolls up to the site and it's a water heater we haven't seen, HVAC unit we haven't seen. Go ahead and start recording that video for us. Pull this out of your pocket or scan the QR code that we've got for you and take a video, get the parts, walk us through a little bit if you learned something. And it'll just go right to nothing is stored on your employee phone. They literally could quit on you that same job on the job. This new unit sucks. I quit. But
Mm-hmm.
they took a video of it. You still got it.
Yeah.
There's so, and the same thing for your customers too.
Mm-hmm.
But these training opportunities, it's huge because you'll
Mm-hmm.
now when that video goes up in the cloud, you could just tag it training,
Mm-hmm.
or you can even say training in the kind of unit, training carrier unit,
Mm-hmm.
boom, training carrier unit, blah 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 blah. And yeah, you can search it. And on those rain days, especially if you have outdoor staff like I did on rain days, not you don't just tell everyone to go home. You're like, hey, on these particular rain days, once a month, we're doing training days.
Mm-hmm.
Come into the office or come in online. We're going to do a video and we're going to start watching some of our training videos
Yeah.
for that. It's also just good for having a repository when you hire a new person.
Mm-hmm.
Going back when you can't remember, like what, especially think of the history on site. So maybe you're going and you've constantly been servicing this house. And you're like, I can't remember what the heck I did 18 months ago. Well, you just look up the name of that person, see what
Mm-hmm.
you did 18 months ago, and watch the video. It's
So something, I love this. Something I want to mention that I remember we were talking about before with integrations. This is always a big question. When anything enters the trade space, everyone always wonders, well, how does it integrate with what we're currently using? So there's in fact, I almost wore my ST hat for this, but I decided not to. But I know that's a huge question. So can you talk a little bit about integrations? Because that's something that, say the users of say Service Titan out there, it's something that they already have built in a way of like, okay, they're taking some video here and they're saving it and they're logging. How can this make it easier and simpler? And talk about some of the integrations because I know the last time we talked, you had mentioned that was in play.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm going to start with the mom and pops first, and then I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to get to the platinum package at Service Titan folks in here in a second. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Uh,
walk us through the whole
let's
spectrum.
go the whole way. Okay. Let's say you run your business on an Excel spreadsheet. Not a problem. Even your paper based still. Some of our
Mm-hmm.
customers still are paper based. Everything that I'm talking about is right on a web browser. Again, you can access phone, tablet, computer. Everything you do will be accessed from a browser, and you just log in. And what happens is you can not only search somebody and just use our tool for that, but if there's a video that you need, you can copy the link to that and put it on anything. You can put it in your Google spreadsheet. You could send it to a spouse to review. You could
Mm-hmm.
send it to insurance if needed. So you can do anything you want with that link, right? You can, if you're in Service Titan and you just want to pop that link in there, you can do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have, now I'm going to get a little nerdy I'm going past the mom and pops. All right. If you have boutique or homemade, we have folks that have homemade
Mm-hmm.
their own CRM. I mean, bless your soul that you did that. And some people just have to have it be particular. I totally
Mm-hmm.
get it. We have a Zapier integration, Or maybe you're already using things like Podium for your texting. We have a Podium integration.
Hmm.
We have a bunch of boutique integrations. So every industry has all the different CRMs, some that are big and small. We're already under the hood of a number of them, meaning you
Sure.
don't even have to come to my stuff. You just use it through like my movers. We're under the hood of Smart Moving. It's a
Hmm.
CRM for movers. You just access our stuff there. We'll be under the hood of Jobber. We already got it approved. And we're right there with Service Titan. We've already paid all the money and done all the things and did all the this, that, and the other. And we just got an approval from one of their titanium partners, and we're a partner there as well. But yes, we'll be under the hood of, and you can just access everything there in one sheet of glass. Okay, but
Nice.
we have to give people options because here's
Mhm.
the thing: what happens if you decide I don't want Service Titan anymore,
Right.
or I don't want boutique certain, or I'm tired of my Excel spreadsheet?
Hmm.
Well, we still have all your repository. You just go to the other CRM, put in your credentials, and there it is,
Sure.
right? Because we don't want to bound you anywhere, and I will
Right.
never sign exclusives because it's not good for my customers,
Hmm.
right? Because maybe you decide you're over it and you're just going to use your own home bake thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
we give you the freedom to choose and your unlimited storage, go to town. But yes, integrations are absolutely a part of what we're doing.
Nice, nice. I love it. And you already got to the second side of it, which I was going to ask is like, okay, once it's there, does it log it and all that? But I love how it can grow with a company as they grow. Say all of a sudden, for some reason, maybe somebody dethrones Service Titan and something else takes over. Who knows, right? Industry and technology is always changing. So yeah, I love that it can, LiveSwitch can move along with that to grow with the company for their specifics and their needs and those kind of things.
That's right. And if your company that you use doesn't have us under the hood yet, you know what companies like to hear from? Their customers. Usually, if they're listening, if they're worth their salt, and
Hmm.
tell them what you want. And we're already ready to rock. Like we'll bolt it right under there. All
Sure.
right. So put a little pressure on your technology companies, please. Like
Yeah.
put pressure on me too, by the way, if you ever become our customer. Like we like it. It makes us better, stronger.
Hmm.
If they're not listening to you, that'll tell you a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if they're not doing what we're asking for, or customer service sucks or something. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it, man. So, well, this is a huge, you know, I love there's so many things that I love about this. One is, can we do this kind of thing outside of this product? Absolutely. We've had tools for years to, video record and to log things and to connect. What I see with this though is the more that we get into, especially as technology pushes the needle, as trades push the needle, as we're focused on speed to lead, customer service, the customer experience, right? There was, one of my trainers a while back, I heard him say something on a podcast of how can we give the Chick-fil-A experience as a trades company, right? Everybody knows. I mean, a company that is intentionally decided to close a seventh of their possible opening, and from day one has been like that and still has grown as fast as they have. And everyone knows they have the best drive through on the planet. That experience is second to none. How do we provide that level of experience to our clients, right? And so what I really like about this product is it makes things simple. It takes two or three different other products that we are kind of like clunky bolting together to try to make this happen, and it renders them unnecessary at this point because it, like we started talking initially, it's like it's specific to the intention of what we're doing, and so it just really makes it so much easier along the way, and doesn't have the extra fluff, but also it aligns to the goal, which is really exciting to see.
Yeah, I think the other thing to consider is what you're asking your team to do, right?
Mhm.
We alluded to this earlier in the conversation. I think the hard part of giving the Chick-fil-A experience within the trades is you're asking your tradesperson to do everything.
Mhm.
Last time with Chick-fil-A, the person who's taking my order wasn't also running to the back to cook the chicken, running around the side and sweeping the floor, and then coming back and handing me the chicken.
Exactly.
That is exactly what we're asking our teams to do.
Mhm.
You're asking your person to do everything at the Chick-fil-A,
Right.
and that's a unicorn person. And we wonder why sometimes our teams get frustrated.
Mhm.
Well, I came here to be a plumber, but now you're asking me to do this, that, and the other.
Right.
And they're not all owners. As an owner, we try to be all things to all pieces of business because we were a solopreneur. But
Hmm.
as we grow and scale, we want to remember when you put the right people in the right seats on the bus, they're going to perform the job better.
Hmm.
And so we can start leveraging these pieces. We had to have our guys be the unicorns. They had to be the salespeople. They had to be the technician. They
Hmm.
had to be the follow-up. They had blah, blah, blah. Like it's wearing them out. This is
Hmm.
why we have a lot of mental health issues in this industry.
No joke.
It's not fun sometimes.
Hmm.
And we've all been there. And we're like, well, what's the alternative? Well, now we can start to think about these alternatives. And once you have that expert salesperson or that expert additional help, once you start putting the right people, you're going to see the refreshment across your team.
Hmm.
But more importantly, you're going to start to see the Chick-fil-A experience happening in your business because now you've put and
Right.
trained in the right ways
Hmm.
because everything's being recorded.
Hmm.
So now with the sales part, they're not closing as high. Well, why don't you watch a few of the closing videos?
Hmm.
Well, please stop swearing at the customers. That doesn't work. Actually, you're not asking for the business. Oh,
Yeah.
you're forgetting to upsell. You're forgetting to talk about this package. You're
Hmm.
forgetting to do this piece. And then same with the technicians when they're recording the work they've done. When the customer's like, it didn't fix it. Well, let me check. Oh, well, you're as an owner, you're putting light and visibility on all
Yeah.
parts of end to end of
All
the
the dark
business that
spaces are
you
now
can
going to be visible.
you're no longer swinging in the dark. You're asking, are we doing this, that? Now you can actually see it. And as a business owner, for me, that's everything. Because when I can see it, I can coach it
Yeah.
or I can make the changes I need to make in my business if I just can't coach up.
Hmm. Yeah. If you don't measure it, you can't manage it. I love this too because, and I get so many calls, and of course, just like you're saying, we train all the time to technicians of how to communicate better, but so many companies want to turn their really awesome technicians who like you're saying, signed up to be a technician. They like to fix things. We like to work with our hands, all the things, and then turn them into the rock star salesperson. And and then get frustrated when they're not upselling the world and they're, don't have all these turnovers, don't have all these things, but they're the best dang technician on the planet. And it's like, so what happens is they either get frustrated and say, okay, well, we'll just hire a bunch of salespeople, or they sadly will fire some of them and then hire less skilled people who maybe can just sell better. And then it's just this mess. And so what I love is this allows people to keep doing what they're doing, stay inside their zone of genius, and then easily make the handoff to someone else to fill in the gaps,
That's
right? So
right.
now we're able to separate those. You don't need to wear three different hats, three different roles. You can do what you do exceptionally well now and not have to worry about the rest, and just develop this, you know to borrow, of course, the name, a nice live switch over to this person, and like you're saying, talk to them while I'm doing this. They're going to guide you through this other part of the journey.
I love this example so much because that is exactly what happens. That top technician is so good, so knowledgeable. You want them on the front line closing the cash, and that's not what they signed up for. So,
Mhm.
how can you leverage that? Well, check this out. Keep the technician in the technician seat on the bus. They clearly kick butt there. Bring in that salesperson. And now that everything's being recorded on the sales side, that technician, you can require them to watch that, say, what did we bid? And they can
Mhm.
play it at 2x speed while they're on the way to the job. Now your technician could turn around and tell that salesperson who might not be as experienced, hey, this is how you need to make your bid better. Here, this is the change I expect. Your technician now becomes the coach. They got the C on the arm
Mhm.
just like on the basketball court, right? You're still allowing them to stay in the pole position technician, but now they're lifting up your salesperson
Mhm.
technically because they have all that tech expertise. And because of this as well, that senior technician can be on every job. How can
Mhm.
they be on every job? Because they are one click away from anybody else, a junior technician who maybe sees a unit they don't know the answer to, or maybe that senior tech needs to answer a technical question to that customer
Mhm.
that is 10 miles away. Well,
Yep.
now they can talk to the customer from 10 miles away. This technician is now the centerpiece, and you're really empowering them and letting them know, look, I mean, it
Mhm.
revolves around them because now you have these tools to put those things in play.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And something else I just thought about for everybody listening, that actually two different things here. One is this could be a potentially a tool when you have your technicians that you've been working with the turnover conversation, right? Talking to the homeowner, should they repair or replace? It's a perfect opportunity to be able to bring this in and have that internal second opinion and bring in somebody with a bit more, either a senior technician who's better at that conversation. It just can facilitate this kind of call by call idea a lot easier. The other thing I was just thinking about too, there's a lot of companies across the country, all of North America. In fact, we're in 71 countries, so I know there's plenty of other countries that have this model. In the last probably 10 years, they've gone to having a sales guy ride with a technician or just follow them to every single appointment. And so they're on site. Yes, it's a great way to immediately capture business when, and play almost good cop, bad cop. But we all know you don't need to follow along a service tech to 5 appointments in a row if you could, one, be seeing, an actual estimate built for you, but also it's a way to triage it really easy. With this kind of model, we could even have pairs of technician salespeople teams and say, okay, you're here, you got on this job, and okay, it is a basic repair. Maybe there's not opportunity for upsell. Maybe there's not. It's just we're here to build reputation and build trust, and it just needs cleaned a little bit. Well, there's no need to bring in the other person, and so we don't have an entire wasted hour and a half and trip and all the time. So they could be doing something other high value instead of just twiddling their thumbs, because that's what happens so many times in that model. And so I could just see so many efficiency things that are really cranking at this point by using this tool really effectively.
Yeah, and that's why instead of having that person ride along, you're just going to hand your technician an iPad or a tablet. So when they get on there, they hit the go button. And the beauty is that salesperson now can be with multiple technicians
Hmm.
because you'll be overstaffed. If you have a technician with a salesperson doing those dual ride-alongs, you don't
Hmm.
need to do that. That one salesperson can service multiple technicians because they'll be centralized, and just by handing off that iPad, they're
Hmm.
doing that work. Again, technician goes off to make the fix, and the salesperson's doing the upsell, the close, and hey, Johnny's already on the site. Have you thought about this, that, and the other?
Sure.
So it
Yeah, I know
just
he's got it on the truck for you. Why don't you go ahead and I can have him grab it and go ahead and put it on for you.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
The other piece that we're seeing a lot of is to reduce shrinkage. I know, especially for our
Hmm.
plumbers, they'll have their technicians scan the QR code in the truck and do a morning of kind of site audit or truck audit of
Ooh.
everything. And they'll go around and truck and do that. And at the end of the day, oh, where's this, that, where's this? I
Mm.
guess I had it on the truck earlier at the beginning of the day. So I have some clients that use this a lot just for their inventory and
Ooh, easy
reduction of
inventory. Yeah.
shrinkage.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Ooh, I like it. That could be definitely useful in a lot of things. Well, it is close to time to land this plane. Before we do, I don't want to forget. One, this podcast is known for one, not necessarily. I don't want this episode to be just a pitch fest. So I hope that no one's hearing that. But also, we're always known for giving immediate, actionable items that people can use right away. So we put a pin earlier in this idea of self generation and this type of tenacity and being hungry and going out and actually doing that. Let's revisit that idea and get from your perspective, your experience. I mean, you've grown massive sales teams. You've done a lot of different elements, everything from door knocking to different things. Take us through maybe like a top, one, two, three ways that people can actually go out and get some business. Right. We're in a climate right now that, you know, competing against these, private equity funded behemoths that are dumping endless pockets, dumping loads of cash in marketing. So how do we competing in those kind of markets? Drop some knowledge on some people here because you've got a lot of history.
Yeah, no, and I can go all the way old school because I used to run it on a clipboard, but there's always for a lot of home service folks, there's neighborhoods that you want, right? There's these golden neighborhoods, and sometimes these neighborhoods are out of your serviceable radius where you haven't gone there because you're like, I'm not going to send my sales guys out that far. Well,
Mm-hmm.
now what you can do is those neighborhoods, as an example, that are right outside of your serviceable radius, you can draw a digital Like you can go and now marketing is so great that you can digitally hit a neighborhood and you can send mailers to that neighborhood. You
Hmm.
can send the Facebook ads to that neighborhood. And like, hey, we haven't serviced this one before, but now we're going to take this on because we can now sell virtually. Back to what
Hmm.
Sam was talking about. So now that I can sell virtually, if I can close the business, I'm going to send my team out there to do the business. And
Hmm.
now I'm working a neighborhood that I hadn't worked before. So I'm going to work on that word of mouth referral. I'm going to work on that follow up. And I'm going to teach my guys when you're in this neighborhood that we're trying to go and you're a technician, I want you to put this many door hangers on, or I want you to go around and do a couple extra things while you're there.
Hmm.
And yes, we're asking those technicians to go a step further, but so that's definitely point one, right? Is thinking about expanding that serviceable radius and doing things now with the new tools in your hand,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Second to that, it's just old school hustle. It's just old school hustle. And that is, if you need to knock on doors, are you too proud?
Right.
Complaining ain't gonna do anything.
Exactly.
And your team, well, I don't have any work today. Well, get your butt out there and get some work, especially if you're in scrappy mode. That's not going to be for everyone. Sometimes you have resources, you can put those things to work.
Hmm.
Referrals, go back to, again, your customers are your gold. Uh, how well, you better be doing your documentation,
Hmm.
right? You better be making sure you know every one of your customers, going back to them, thanking them, following up with them. Your sales team now that you've put in that customer service, give them a list of calls to make. Hey,
Hmm.
just following up. We're so grateful. We're having make something up. Or
Right.
maybe it is something. It's your 10-year anniversary. It's our 10-year anniversary. We wanted to call to thank our customers.
Hmm.
If you need any other, or if you wouldn't mind passing our name on to somebody, we'd love to do that. And in fact, if you pass our name on and they come and become customer, we'll send you a little thank you gift.
Hmm.
Juice what you have, and like get creative. And if you don't know the answer, the last piece is create that. Well, I'm a nerd. I like Star Wars. I call it a Jedi Council. But for some of you, your board of directors,
Right.
right? And do you have one? And sometimes vendors can be your board of directors.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's people that have been in the business and not just the ones with a lot of gray hair like me, but some of the younger up and comers where maybe
Hmm.
technology isn't your forte, or maybe this and get that fullness. See what everybody else is doing. Apply to a mastermind group.
Hmm.
There's amazing groups out there that will give you fresh ideas, fresh thoughts, and what's in between your ears. You're already listening to this podcast. I know you're already 10 steps ahead. Just because you're listening to this podcast, I know you're 10 steps ahead, right? Are you listening to books? Are you Netflixing
Hmm.
chill? Are you getting time? Are you reaching out? Are you networking? And then, well, how do I network? I mean, that's a whole nother episode. I can go into how you network, but
Right.
all these layers of the cake come back to
Hmm.
that's how it's done. I mean, I get the majority of my sales calls from referrals,
Hmm. I love
right?
it.
And
It goes
that's
back to
it.
the before the what I always loved in these types of conversations. I always tell people it's like, listen, if the internet didn't exist, what would you do? Because
Uh,
and really that's just reminding us that we'll just go back to the old school way of doing things.
That's
If
right.
the internet didn't exist, how would you grow your business? And play that game with yourself every single quarter, every single time you're evaluating things. Always have an element of that, because what happens the day that somebody runs into the pole and the internet's down? What happens when,
Run into new circles. Okay, if
yeah.
you're in a home services business, you better have a bunch of real estate friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know what your real estate friends will do for you? Give you a ton of jobs, a ton of jobs. If
Mm-hmm.
you have no real estate friends, go play in that circle. If there's an open
Absolutely.
house, guess who's sitting
Beautiful.
in there? The real estate agent. You
Mm-hmm.
walk in, say, "Hey, it looks like you're getting ready to sell this house. If they find anything, I'm a great plumber. I'm a great electrician. I'm here. Here's my card."
Mm-hmm.
Go to the people. No one, just assume no one's going to call you. That's what Samsung, the internet doesn't exist. Go to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And these are some logical home service based things. You get a ton of real estate agents, or you get a ton of people that are doing the restorations, or,
Mm-hmm.
what do you
I
call
love
that when they're,
people
yeah,
that do
go ahead.
insurance, right?
Yes.
The insurance. I used to always like when I was in the field, man. I kept a notebook. It's just a legal pad. Every single sign that I drove by, a realtor sign, I wrote the number down. When you're in the grocery store, they've got the ad looking right at you on the shopping cart. I literally would just pick up the phone and call them and say, "Hey, I'm staring at your face right here at the grocery store." And they would laugh and I would laugh and be like, well, you have this here. So clearly you're wanting to grow your business, right? I'm also a local business person. Would you be open to a conversation about how we could work together and maybe pass business to each other? Never one time in hundreds of calls did I hear a no.
It's
Just do the
incredible.
work, people.
R- Home inspectors, they're
Yes.
literally, their job is to find the problems.
Hmm. Yeah, and they may not.
This is it.
I've had
Yes.
plenty of home inspectors that send me referrals. They can't legally say, here's one guy to call. But what they do is they will develop the sheet of their trusted providers. And when you have a good relationship, they make sure you're on the top of the list. And then they'll circle you on their list and say, here's the ones that I like the best. I circled the ones that I like the best out of that. And you happen to be the one that circled. It's really incredible how that works.
And it's amazing how sometimes you can just win by doing that. And even if what if you're number three? Uh-oh. Well, you're the fastest person to get back,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Love
You're
it.
going to beat them with speed,
Or just
speed,
help them out.
speed.
Say, here on my listing, put this little QR code right there.
See, it just bakes all the way through the cake, doesn't it?
I love it. Well, good stuff, man. Well, man, it has been a pleasure to have you on this show and to share everything, share your history, share the live switch stuff, man. It's cool tech. I love when new tech enters a market and how it streamlines or makes things efficient and it's really exciting to watch where it goes too. So yeah, how's everybody get a hold of you, man? If they want to check it out, if they want to know, maybe see a demo, know a little bit more about it, and
Yep,
get to know you some, how they reach out.
absolutely. Just go to LiveSwitch, LiveSwitch, liveswitch.com.
Hmm.
Book a demo and ask for James. Say, I want to talk to James. Just and that way, any listener here, I'd be happy to. I've run these businesses before, so it won't just be the dog and pony show. We'll probably end up talking more about your business than we do talk about any tech. Because
Sure.
we love entrepreneurship. Back
Hmm.
to the inmates to entrepreneurs. We are teachers at our heart. We love talking about this stuff. So if anything, you'll have another vendor connection, even if you don't buy from me. It's not a big deal. I'm not just like, hard closer. So don't worry about it. And Sam, thanks for
Well,
having me on this. And again,
absolutely,
this
man.
was not designed to, this is just what's out there for everyone to
Uh-huh.
consider and just, hey, the things that we've learned over the years and how to build our businesses. So
I
it's
love
been
it.
fun to be here.
That's
Thank
good.
you.
One last thing before I let you go. We cannot do this episode without talking about it. So everybody that's reaching out, make sure your last name is not McCoy. No, totally kidding. Uh, Give us a super quick synopsis of that because if everybody, when I introduced James, remember I said his name was Hatfield. Well, you may have heard that name before, and here's why.
Yeah, my great great uncle is Devil Anse Hatfield. So if you've American culture is, and it's in the Huckleberry Finn, there's a parody of it. Hatfields and McCoys is a very famous family feud in the West Virginia, Kentucky area. And on the History Channel, Kevin Costner, if you're familiar with the actor, played my uncle. And he did a great job. Like it's just the whole history thing was incredible. So yeah, I'm an absolute, I live in the Blue Ridge Mountains right now, still a mountain man through and through. And yeah, that's a bit of my American history and part of my family tree.
I love it. That's so fun. Thank you for sharing that. It's always cool to have people on the show, and it's talk about the 6 degrees of separation. Anymore, I think the latest study said it's like 3 degrees at this point with technology and that kind of thing. And I love it. So it's really cool when we come across somebody who has a fun history like that. That's so well known. But thanks for being on here, man. Well, for everybody listening, I'll make sure the contact info, live switch, and all of the ways to get a hold of James is in the show notes. So don't drive off the road during your drive time university. Um, Park and pick up the notes. Click the link in the show notes if you want to learn more. Otherwise, thanks for listening. I hope y'all got a ton of value from this. If you have ever gotten value from the show, I, please go to Google and leave me a 5-star review or to Apple Podcasts. The Google is the big one I'm asking for right now, everybody, though. So, and remember, a cool way to do it would be maybe have this podcast or any of the closing out podcasts playing. Make yourself a little video, a selfie video with it playing in the background. Say, hey, I love this podcast. Right? Videos rank highest. It's the nuggets you learned today. Or if you can't do a video, just take a selfie with maybe with with something that has closer, or just take a selfie and put it in there as well. Or of course, any review is a good review. So thank you for that, everybody, and thanks James for being on. And we're gonna sign off. So everybody, go out there, go slay some dragons, go crush it, and as always, go be someone worth buying from.